Aloha kako, I'm Chef GUCH and you're watching KTA Kitchens. Mother's Day is right around the corner, so today we'll be making Lilikoi bars. My mother herself, she wasn't the biggest baker, but you know, plenty of aunties, my grandmother, everyone loves that. So this is a recipe that kind of strikes home for me. So we're gonna start off today. First we have half cup sugar, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. We have about 6 ounces of butter, and this part is optional, but you can have about half cup of roasted chopped nuts, macadamia, pine nuts, whatever's around here. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make our dough. It's a really easy recipe. It's just a few ingredients. It's a great way to space out the day because you can make this dough, put it away, come back to it later and finish up the rest. So first, we'll get it in. And what I like to do is, if you don't have a mixer, you can just use your hands, a bowl, break it up. Make sure that the powdered sugar and the flour is evenly incorporated. That way when you mix your dough, it all kind of comes together at one time. You get your butter. And at this point, your nuts. Just get it together like this. You remember now, cooking is not rocket science. Neither is baking or pastry. Just a few ingredients that kind of come together. A lot of times, we're real busy, You got kids to feed, you gotta take them practice, you don't have time all the time in the world. Stuff like this, making a crust, you can do it on the weekend. You can make a bigger batch, freeze it, save it for a rainy day. So right about now, if you look closely, it's kind of all coming together now. It's getting a little clumpy like this. When you hold it, kind of comes like a dough. So you know you're almost there. At this point, I usually like to put away my spatula and finish it by hand. Don't mess around with it too much. What happens is if you fuss around with the dough too much, it's gonna get tough on you. You want to just barely come together. You want it to be light and flaky. This is gonna be the crust, okay? So once it comes together like this, kind of resembles a shaggy mass a little bit more, yeah? You're good to go. So you take a cake pan, 9 by 13, well greased, little pan spray, olive oil, even some melted butter if you want. This is gonna make sure that once our crust is done, it'll release from the bottom. Press it out. This part I like to do this with keiki, because it's a great way for them to get involved. It's fun, it's messy for them, they have a good time. And you can be doing something else on the side. So just push it out, both sides. You could, if you wanted to, use a rolling pin. Me, I like the little imperfections in the crust, Keeps it real. Now at this point, your oven has been preheated, You got your oven going behind you. It's at 350 degrees. This is gonna take about 20-25 minutes to cook. You're looking for a nice golden brown. You don't have to stand in front of the oven, just set that timer. Go make some ice cream or something. So once we got it, almost pushed out to the corners, you want a little bit of a lip on the edges. There you have it. Around the corner, a little bit of an edge. This point, piece of parchment paper right on top. I like to put another cake pan on top of that and then weigh it down with marbles. This will help me, this will just kind of help me keep a crust on it. Keep it nice and flat. If you don't have marbles, you can use rice. Rice works really good. It's just any type of weight to evenly hold the crust down as it bakes off. Let's go ahead and make our filling. We've got our flour and sugar. We have our lilikoi and lemon juice. If you don't have fresh lilikoi juice, that's fine. You can add a concentrate and we'll just decrease the amount of sugar that goes in. We have our whole eggs. Get it all together. So in a large mixing bowl, get your sugar and your flour and go ahead and just mix it up to incorporate right there. And next, with your eggs, you're gonna take a pinch of salt. And what the salt does, the salt helps to denature the proteins. It's gonna take the egg yolks and the egg whites, it's gonna kind of pull them apart, which makes it easy to incorporate. Pinch of salt, just like so. And we'll leave it off to the side for a moment. Once we have our flour and sugar, let's add our juice. And let's take the zest of 1 lemon. So this little tool right here is called a microplane. It was developed by a woodworker a long time ago, and this guy is probably a bajillionaire now, but this is definitely a standard kitchen tool for most cooks in today's modern culinary world. Okay, let's get it all together. Stir to dissolve. Once we got that going, we're going to go ahead, add our eggs. There you go. So we just pulled our crust out of the oven. We've had it going for about 25-30 minutes. It developed a really nice dark brown color. So we can go ahead, we can add in our filling. Nice and evenly, get it over the entire surface. Now if you remember correctly, we made that lip, that small lip. That lip right there is what's going to catch this custard so that it doesn't get underneath. So now that we've got our filling in, we're going to reduce the oven to 275. We're going to place our lemon bars back inside and we're going to bake it off just until it's no longer wobbly, about 20 minutes. Another good way to check is if you insert a paring knife into the center and pull it out, it should just be slightly moist and tacky but not covered in your filling. So once our bars have cooled, we can dust them with sugar, cut them, and they're ready to go. Crunchy, sweet and tart. I'm gonna give these the rest to Grandma. Oh, once again, this is Chef Gooch. I want to mahalo if you're watching KTA Kitchens.